This is so boring. There's nothing to watch on Twitch because everyone's playing that stupid wizard game. There's nothing to watch on YouTube because everything isn't uploading yet because people are busy. And as well, there's nothing to play because I've already beat Dead Space and I don't need to do that shit again! If only there were a game with good beat-em-up mechanics, simple characters, and just a really, really, really fun soundtrack. Oh hey, Hi-Fi Rush! Oh yeah, that'll do just fine. Though, I do wonder, who the heck developed this game? Doesn't look like anything Nintendo did. Oh, it's produced by Bethesda. Okay, but if it was produced and distributed by Bethesda and Microsoft, who the heck actually... Tango Gameworks? Okay, well, let's see their resume. Wait, what? Evil Within? Evil Within 2? Ghostwire? And they made this?
Mr. Chai, was it?
That's Mr. Chai to you.
That's what I just called you.
Huh. Guess you really shouldn't judge a book by its cover then, huh, guys? Just like how we shouldn't judge our boy Chai here.
Foreign object warning. Looks like a defect. Take him in.
Now, I'm going to be talking about this game's story, so if you don't want spoilers, go to here. Alright. They're gone? They're not coming back? Okay, good. They're going to really miss out on this. Our story begins with our boy Chai. He's signed on to a project called Project Armstrong to apparently get a new robotic limb. However, during the procedure, Chai's Walkman is thrown on top of him, right before the machine begins his surgery, implanting it into his new arm. After getting out of surgery, Chai is labeled a defect, as the robot arm he was given isn't supposed to have anything else with it. Though strangely, Chai begins to feel the world sync with the beat of his music, and it grants him musical powers. Managing to escape the robots trying to kill him, Chai runs into a strange robotic cat who helps him escape the Vandalay campus to an underground base, where he meets the cat's owner/creator, Peppermint.
Wait, that voice! You're the cat!
Peppermint basically conscripts Chai into her plan to infiltrate Vandalay and to figure out what's going on with the secret project called Project Spectra. And after managing to beat the head of production, Rekka, or as I like to call her, gender-swapped Senator Armstrong.
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Our ragtag rebels find out that Spectra is a mind control project, and that Chai, along with anyone else who got a robotic limb, is at risk of being enslaved to the Vandalay Company. So, every corporation ever. And the only way to stop it is to get the other 5 passwords from the executives of Vandalay, and along the way overthrow Kale Vandalay, the current CEO of the company.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't.
Along the way, we recruit more people to our cause, starting with the lovable giant Macaron, his robotic assistant Cinnamon, and later the head of Vandalay's security, Corsica. As it turns out, the red-headed Scottish lady of my dreams was too noble for Kale's taste, and kept her on the need-to-know basis about Spectra. From there, as you beat the other executives, you learn that Peppermint is also a Vandalay, and that Kale is her older brother.
What a twist!
Though it was obvious from the get-go throughout the story how Peppermint reacted to a lot of Kale's revisions of history, though Chai and the rest of the team comfort her and let her know that her bloodline doesn't define her, and that she's trying to stop her brother's evil plans, and that's what matters. And once the other bosses are beaten, it's just a simple, straightforward shot of beating Kale and ending the Spectra threat. All in all, a pretty good, simple plot with fun characters. And honestly, that's okay. A game like this, with a short story like this, everything just fits in naturally, and the story moves at a very good pace the entire time. The characters are extremely likable, both villains and heroes, and honestly, this is probably the most simplest cast that I've ever seen. But simple doesn't always mean bad. Chai is the protagonist, though I describe him more honestly as a shonen protagonist. He's good-natured, cares about being free and enjoying life, cares about his friends, is a bit dumb and can stop caring about the conversation if it bores him, though. It is fun to see, however, that when plans go sideways, he's the one that has to improvise, and usually it's pretty comedic when he does. Also, the director of the game has said that Chai actually got his robotic enhancement because he had nerve damage in his right hand, kind of showing that the Armstrong project was meant for good. Though apparently Chai wanted to get a robotic arm because he thought it would make him, oh, I don't know, Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk? Yeah, no Johnny Silverhand 2.0 here. Honestly, Chai is likable for what we have, and by the end of the game, seeing him become a bit more serious and that he is emotionally smart, to a degree. When Peppermint is telling the crew about her relation to Kale, she is losing it and crying. Chai, on the other hand, is the first one to comfort her and the one to tell her that just because she's related to Kale doesn't mean she should bear his failures and crimes as her own. Which honestly, good on you, Chai. Now land horribly a few more times. Peppermint is the first teammate we get in the game, and I honestly like her a lot. Her humor is dry, and though she does find Chai's antics to be annoying, she is genuine in wanting to help him and making sure her brother doesn't just take over innocent people. But there's another reason. We're told Peppermint ran away from her family, and though we don't know why, we do see that it affects her. Her mom was the reason Vandelay is where it is today, and though she and her mom had issues, she still loves her, and wants to see her mother's hard work be restored to its proper glory, and not ruined by her brother Kale. And though we don't get to see much of her and her mom reuniting after the game, it is sweet to see our girl get some comfort in the end. By the way, for our lovely bi people out there, she is also confirmed to be bisexual, and has the same taste as me. Yes, best girl Corsica confirmed. Though the other members of the team don't get the same development that Chai and Peppermint do. Macron is the gentle giant and is way softer when it comes to Chai's antics in game, and we don't get a lot from him or Cinnamon. He was the lead of R&D before he was replaced by Zonzo, the new boss of R&D and one of the bosses we have to take down, but that's really it, and we don't get much out of him aside from him being the gentle giant that doesn't like to fight. And then there's Cinnamon, who's just a robot that tells you what your flaws are, and that it's your responsibility to fix yourself. Though he does get his own little arc about wanting to be useful, which is rather adorable. Both don't get much in the character development department, but their little commentary and antics here and there are really, really fun, and genuinely, they're just adorable together. I really like them. Then there's Corsica. Ah yes, the woman who will step on you and motivate you at the same time. Corsica is a bit interesting as a character, but she doesn't get much development once we recruit her to the team. She joined Vandelay as she admired Peppermint's mom and that the company stood for something due to them saving her life years before. Though she was hired as head of security, she was seen as too good by the higher-ups, and she's proactive when Chai tells her that Spectra is something evil, and when we see her again, she's already looking into the problem. So she's very proactive in that way. For the rest of the story, however, she sort of takes a seat like Macaron and Cinnamon do, and that she doesn't get any more development after joining the party. But all in all, Corsica is also fun, and she gives some witty banter of her own, and just seeing her personal contempt for the boss Mimosa, absolutely hilarious and petty. Speaking of the bosses...
そうか。
The bosses in Hi-Fi Rush can be basically described as your Saturday morning cartoon villains, as well as being stereotypes and references to other things in media. Rekka is just the WWE reference, Zonzo is the anime and gaming reference. No, seriously, they make a Castlevania and JoJo references with him. Mimosa is Marilyn Monroe, Roquefort is the Wolf of Wall Street taken to its literal extreme. However, I had a lot of fun with these walking stereotypes. Each one's filled with a ton of energy and has their own quirks that make you both love and hate them. I personally love Zonzo in this manner, not just through the gaming references, but he has more interactions with Chai than the other bosses, along with him just showing off, and getting comedically more frustrated when Chai taunts him, and keeps breaking through his traps. The bosses are fun, cartoonish, and that's perfect what this game is trying to do. Though, now we have to talk about the massive, useless elephant in the room, Kale Vandelay.
Well, if it isn't Sussy Jack.
Bro, are you high?
Let me check. Yes.
Basically, just imagine you're beating up Elon Musk or any rich CEO who takes credit for others' work, and that's Kale. Okay, I'll go further into it. Kale is the opposite of Chai in that where Chai learns that you can't take the easy way out, Kale is the one who embraced the easy way out. He never learned to do much on his own and manipulated others to get where he was. Hell, the guy never developed Spectra by himself. It was Zonzo that developed it. But Kale just took all the credit for it. But get this, he never even thought to use Spectra as a tool to take over the world. He just wanted to force people to buy his products.
Do you have any idea how difficult it is to make something people actually want to buy? It's ridiculously hard!
The man is so stupid and lazy, he literally used mind control on his own mother and was violating others' free will and choice to try and make selling things easier. Kale is just the example of the man who never struggled to get anything. Hence why I made my Elon Musk comparison. Someone who puts their name on the project and does none of the work. Granted, after you beat the game, he did have a backup plan, but it was so easily stopped that it just shows how honestly pathetic he really was. Which just makes it more fun to beat the crap out of him.
You're just a bunch of losers.
Maybe so, but together we're unstoppable.
Chai!
Okay, the rest of the video here is spoiler free. Okay, so the world that Tango Gameworks made is amazing. The game has a comic book and manga charm around it, and has a great sense of humor. The characters are all fun and energetic, and that goes double for the robots. Though Vandelay's robots are the main enemy of the game, they also populate the world as the NPCs we talk to, or just watch as they go along their daily business, and honestly, they are my favorite parts of the game. And during the game, they help flesh out the world with text logs, with all range from telling you about how the Vandelay company is dealing with its new leaders, how the robotic employees both love and hate their jobs, or just simple stories being told. The tragedy of Sideman will never be forgotten so long as I live. Also, seeing how the robots talk to you in previous levels appear in later ones is also really adorable. Especially the reference to Tango's other games, The Evil Within as the main character and his partner appear in this game as HR detectives. Sometimes you have to go out of your way to find them, but I will tell you now, it's always worth it to hear angsty robot Seb talk about how his job is the most important thing in the world, while his robot companion has to tell him, hey, isn't that a little above our station? With everything being said, though, I love the world that Tango developed, and this is the perfect time to talk about the visuals and music of this game, because, oh, this shit is fucking fire! Like I said earlier, the visual design of Hi-Fi is comic books and manga inspired, with a shell-shaded style, and honestly, it works well. Each location we go to has its own vibe and visual flair. The most distinct of these for me were R&D and the Vandelay Party, where R&D went from a vibrant and hot volcano stage to the sterile and cold interior, and the Vandelay Party goes from outside a rock concert to a clockwork museum to a swinging dance venue. But the thing that ties it all together is the music. Each stage has its own distinct style and beat, from rocking out wrestling music to Beethoven's Fifth Symphony? Holy shit, that motherfucker be playing those strings hard! Though if you are planning to stream this game, I recommend turning on the stream mode, as Hi-Fi does have licensed music in it, and that can cause some problems. Though the music Bethesda and Tango made is just as good in my opinion, it is a bit of a lost experience if you don't play with the intended music for the game. All in all, the visuals and music are wonderful, but the amazing thing is, all of this ties back into the gameplay, which is just as solid.
Just shake the meat to the beat!
Hi-Fi is a rhythm beat-em-up game, and so in that way, the game focuses combat around fighting to the beat. Though the game does make it very clear that you don't have to keep up with the beat, as the developers were aware that not everyone can keep a beat. If you can fight up to the beat, though, you get a bit of bonus damage each time you score a hit to the rhythm of the game. I had trouble keeping a beat myself, but luckily the developers have thought of different ways to help players. By pressing select on your controller or the appropriate key, you bring up a rhythm bar that tells you exactly when to hit on beat. For me, a more visual-based learner, this is a godsend, and this helps me keep up with the tempo and trains me to help fight to the game's beat. But what if you don't want the bar down there? Well, the game gives you plenty of other visual indicators as well. From background elements moving to the beat to your own health bar, the game gives everyone everything they need to hit to the beat at the right time. Though the game gives you more options than just smacking things around. Dodging and parrying are just as effective tools to help. Though dodging can be used to help with platforming, it's always a good quick escape from damaging attacks, which of course you can combo into another chain of hits after the dodge. But the parry is a bit harder to get down. The game of course puts you through your paces and teaches you how to parry properly on beat, but later it does demand more out of you. But if you get it down, you can control the pace of the fight, or if you're skilled enough, to instantly kill bigger enemies by parrying special attacks they launch at you, and leaving them open for an on-beat counterattack. Of course, hitting to the beat isn't all you have in your arsenal. You have friends that can help both in and out of combat. Peppermint brings in the ranged combat and takes down enemy force fields in the middle of combat. Macaron takes out heavy armor, leaving enemies vulnerable to your combos and follow-ups. And although Corsica doesn't do damage herself, she does give you breathing room by stunning enemies and making them hit for less damage. Not only that, but if you time your combos with the beat and summon a friend to aid you on that beat, you both do a devastating combo attack that not only helps you clear out enemies, but also improves your score. If you care about that glorious S rank, that is. Though if you want to get these helpful abilities, you have to buy them. Throughout the game, you can find scrap metal and upgrades that you can send or improve in the store in your safe house. You can buy new combos, special attacks, upgrades to your health, and special attack bar that require a bigger chunk of scrap to buy, and guitar picks. The guitar pick system is a passive upgrade system, ranging from helping your combo game by slowing down the timing for beat hits, making cooldown shorter for your allies to come back in to help, or as simple as making you magnetic to grab items just slightly out of reach. But you only start out with one chip slot and have to buy additional ones if you want to take advantage of the chips you buy and upgrade. Though another problem is that it doesn't really lead to much customization. You only get 5 slots, and that's not a lot to experiment with, so your customization options are very limited there. But after buying any upgrades and combos, you can talk to Peppermint, and later Corsica, to both test out new combos and put your skills to the test with these combos, with the training room and combat tower, respectively. So you aren't without tools to learn and improve your skills, which can help with post-game content challenge rooms that you can find throughout the levels that you revisit after you beat the game at least once. Though the secret ending is hidden behind these optional challenge rooms, and they do expect the best out of you. So if you're going to go for them, make sure you're ready, because this game won't hold back.
I've been staring at this all day, I still don't get it.
All in all, this game is fantastic. I'm not usually a rhythm beat-em-up guy, but this game just clicked with me in all the right ways. The style, the music, the gameplay, the characters, all of it was so damn good, and I loved each and every moment I was playing it. Sure, there were a few gripes I had with it. Being unable to lock onto enemies is a bit of a pain in the ass, and sometimes I thought I did something right, but I ended up not doing it right, and it got really frustrating at some points. But it was all worth it. Hi-Fi Rush is such a fun game, and though it is only limited to Steam and the Microsoft Store, I highly recommend getting your hands on it if you can. This game is so amazing and affordable. $50 for a deluxe edition. No in-game purchases, nothing. This is a wonderful single-player experience, and I highly, highly recommend that anybody who can get it, please do. Tango Gameworks worked their butt off on this thing, and they deserve all of the success for it. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you coming to this review. And if you want to watch anything early, please subscribe to the Patreon. I very much appreciate it. As well, next month is the month of Capcom, and we'll be talking about the series of Capcom games that I am the most familiar with, both Resident Evil and Mega Man. See you all next month.